Another chapter in the long-running saga of Melbourne's underworld war closed today with the so-called matriarch Judy Moran being sentenced to 26 years in jail for the murder of her brother-in-law. The judge described the murder of Des Moran at an inner-city cafe as brutal and premeditated. As she was leaving the court, the always colourful Moran called out to the judge that she was innocent. From Melbourne, Hamish Fitzsimmons reports.
It marks the end of one of the longest chapters in Melbourne's gangland wars. After being sentenced for the 2009 murder of her brother-in-law Des Moran, Melbourne's self-styled crime matriarch proclaimed her innocence as she was let out of the court. She'll now have to serve at least 19 years in jail. Her story is littered with violence. 2 husbands and 2 sons died in gangland warfare. The sons, Jason and Mark, were the victims of a feud with drug dealer Carl Williams, who was murdered in prison last year.
It's all but destroyed me, ripped my heart out. I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to my family.
In his sentencing remarks, Justice Lex Lasry said Moran's family history made her actions more perplexing.
It makes it much more difficult for me to understand why you would become involved yourself in such a callous and public killing.
66-year-old Judy Moran thought Des Moran was hiding millions of dollars in family money she thought was rightfully hers, and she decided to kill him to get it. Des Moran had survived an earlier attempt on his life.
I lost 3 people in the family. The next night I was out doing what I wanted to do. Of course, you're not going to let some hoon like this worry you.
But the murder itself was hardly the act of a criminal mastermind. Moran drove her co-accused Jeffrey Armour to and from the shooting. The getaway car and gun were later found at her house, the weapon inside a safe.
Just for your information, inside that safe we found various items of clothing, jackets, gloves, 2 semi-automatic pistols and ammunition, 1 revolver and ammunition, some balaclavas and some rego plates belonging to a car. Do you know anything about those items?
Earlier today, Jeffrey Armour, who'd pleaded guilty, was sentenced to 26 years. But in sentencing Judy Moran, Justice Lex Lasry said she had shown no remorse. Moran's term has a 21-year minimum. Having served almost 2 years in jail already, she'll be eligible for parole in 2030. Hamish Fitzsimmons, Late Line.